It's clear that it is love and kindness, in the sight of blindness that it is God's love and the failing brightness that's given us hope and no escape from the crisis. Apocalypse.
The saints' harvest, the battle of 8,000 suns, the gathering storm. The valley of Eclipse crossroads stretches for miles, a vast plain where the shadow of the floating spire never moves. It is here, beneath the unblinking eye of Solkar the unblinking, that the Daemon army gathers its mightiest force, 100,000 strong. The sky darkens as if night has come at midday. The air thrums with the collective power of the 8 camps united into one single monstrositous force. New reports had returned to the spire's generals of some recent raid losses and village rebellions. They had planned to make an example by destroying the fugitives and the rebellion. They set steady pace from out the spire's gates towards the villages. They come in waves. 10,000 phase pelt stalkers shimmer at the edges, their shadow veil cloaks creating a rippling wall of darkness. 8,000 emberclaw tyrants stomp forward, their moloch-eyed halberds dripping magma that sizzles against the earth. 12,000 pus-sack slugs ooze across the battlefield, leaving trails of toxic sludge that hisses and bubbles. 9,000 sand-shifter serpents burrow beneath the ground, creating a rippling carpet of shifting sand. 11,000 tidal leviathans tower at the rear, their massive forms blotting out the horizon. 15,000 glacial frost claws form a frozen perimeter, their breath crystallizing in the air. 14,000 thundermane hunters crackle with lightning, illuminating the darkening sky. 21,000 solar pterodactyls circle overhead, their wings blocking the sun in a massive, undulating shadow. At the center stands a lone figure, the unknown saint. No one knows their name, their origin, or why they stand alone against the Daemon army. Some say they are a fallen angel. Others claim they are the first human blessed by the true and faithful God. What is certain is that they carry no visible weapons, wear no armor, and show no fear. After the saint had first discovered his golden glow at the village, he made preparations and diligent study. He then continued to retrieve an ancient mysterious scroll from a secret chamber hidden beneath the burned down church in the village he had visited, as well as a pocket version of the KJV Bible, in the which he then chose again to retreat to a secluded place in the mountains where he could continue his cogitations and prayers. As the saint slept quiet and peacefully that night, the golden glow emanated ever so more brighter. It's as if a powerful spiritual host was calling out to him in a dream, but it was hard to discern the figure or the person's face from the glow and nature of the light, or even barely hear the voice. But still the saint remained strong and confident. He did not show fear in the sight of facing such radiance and love, and instead he demonstrated humility and patience. In this moment the golden glow erupted again, but not like before. This time there was a new air around it, a true expression of powerful strength. Nobody could even describe the nature of its invincibility, yet the saint was not himself, as if the full power of his spiritual guardian guided his steps as he descended from the mountain. He heard great noise of an army making swift progression. He stood ready, alert, and aware. His eyes lit up. He saw the threat with focus. The Daemon army overlords watch from a ridge. Vexthra the veiled laughs, a sound like glass breaking. Kraghor the devourer flexes claws that could tear mountains. Solkar merely blinks his first blink in centuries. Let the saint make their peace, Vexthra hisses. Today, the Daemon army feasts. The first blood. The first wave comes as a test, 100 phase pelt stalkers, their eclipse daggers glinting in the strange half-light. The saint stands motionless as they approach. When the first stalker pounces 30 feet of muscle and shadow, the saint moves with a speed that defies perception. A hand extends, touches the stalker's chest. The stalker freezes. Its phantom echo shudders, then unravels like burnt thread. The stalker's eyes widen, pupils expanding to voids, before its shadow veil snaps. The stalker collapses, fur igniting into black, oily flames that leave only ash. One by one, the saint touches them. Each time, the same result, stalkers disintegrate into ash, their voids hard onyx jewels cracking in sequence. By the 100th stalker, the saint has not broken a sweat. The Daemon commanders exchange glances. Vexthra gestures, and 900 more stalkers surge forward, accompanied by 500 abyssal howlers whose void howl disrupts the air itself. The saint closes their eyes. When they open them, a subtle glow emanates from within, gold-like sunlight, but deeper, older. The saint moves through the stalkers like wind through wheat. Each touch, each gesture sends stalkers to their end. The howlers lunge, their void howl reaching a crescendo that would shatter stone. The saint raises a hand, and the sound stops, cut off mid-wave. The howlers falter. The saint steps among them, and one by one, they fall. The void howl aura of each howler implodes, creating vacuums that pull in debris. Their fur chars to blackened patches, muscle liquefies to tar, skulls crack open to reveal void cores that detonate. By the 1000th creature, the saint's path is marked by 1,000 small craters of ash and scorched earth. The air reeks of ozone and burnt hair. Craghor growls. Enough games. He signals the next wave, 3,000 sand shifter serpents, 2,000 inferno pups, and 4,000 pus sac slugs. The saint replies, "Haven't you seen my new tricks?" The serpents burrow, emerging beneath the saint's feet. The pups charge, magma fur blazing. The slugs ooze forward, their rotting miasma a toxic cloud. The saint raises both hands. The ground beneath them ripples. The serpents burst from below but freeze mid-strike. The pups skid to a halt, magma cooling on their fur. The slugs advance halts, their toxic cloud evaporating. The saint begins to glow brighter, golden light pushing back the unnatural darkness. A serpent strikes the saint, catches it, crushes it. The serpent's body sloughs off like dead skin, scales dissolving into sand that hardens to glass. A pup lunges, the saint touches its head. The magma blood cools rapidly, solidifying into obsidian shards that impale the pup from within. A slug oozes close, the saint waves a hand. The slug inflates, then bursts, spraying toxic pus that sizzles on the ground. The saint moves through the 9,000 creatures methodically. Each touch, each gesture ends a life in spectacular, gruesome fashion. Serpents melt to glass statues. Pups become obsidian statues. Slugs leave toxic puddles that dissolve into the earth. By the 10,000th kill, the saint's glow is visible for miles. The daemon army's front lines are in disarray, creatures backing away from the approaching light. It was as if the tide turns. Tempestus the skybreaker takes to the air on his Tempest Quetzal. Release the thunder, he roars. 15,000 Thundermane hunters surge forward, crackling with lightning. Behind them, 10,000 glacial frost claws advance, their breath freezing the air. The saint raises both hands above their head. The golden glow intensifies, forming a dome around them. Lightning from the hunters strikes the dome, bounces off, arcing back to strike the hunters. The first hunters fall, their static charge overloading. Fur stands on end as electricity cooks them from within. They collapse as charred husks, voltage claws melting to slag. The glacial frost claws reach the dome, their breath creating ice that creeps across its surface. The saint touches the ice, it melts on contact, dripping upward against gravity. The saint steps out, moving among the frost claws. Each touch ends with the same result, fur melting to water, evaporating to steam, claws cracking, revealing hollow bones, bodies freezing into glass-like statues that shatter under their own weight. By 25,000 kills, the air crackles with residual energy. The saint's glow is blinding now. Glacis the unyielding sends his absolute zero wraiths, 5,000 of them, their time-slow aura warping reality itself. The saint stands still as the wraiths descend. Their aura slows time around the saint, except the saint moves faster within the distortion. Each wraith finds the saint inside their guard, touched before they can react. The wraith's time-slow aura crystallizes, then shatters into ice shards. Their translucent bodies solidify, then shatter into clouds of ice crystals that melt mid-air. By 50,000 kills, the battlefield is transformed. The ground is littered with ash craters, glass statues, and crystallized remains. The air smells of ozone, rot, and cold. The sky above churns with unnatural clouds, as if reality itself is bending. Gathered at the summit, Solkar the unblinking rises from his floating spire. Enough. His voice carries across the battlefield, causing the remaining creatures to pause. The remaining 50,000 creatures, tidal leviathans, overload golems, void fin abductors, and more, form a final wave. They move in perfect, terrifying unison. The saint looks up at Solkar. For the first time, they speak, voice echoing across the battlefield. The light is eternal. The darkness is temporary. The saint's glow expands outward in a shockwave of golden light. Creatures caught in the wave freeze, then begin to disintegrate. Tidal leviathan scales slough off in sheets, overload golems' metal bodies rust at 10x speed, void fin abductors phase in slash out of reality before vaporizing into black particles. The wave expands outward, a golden tsunami of purification. Creatures try to flee, but the light catches them. Their death throes are spectacular. Tidal leviathans burst, guts and seawater exploding outward before dissolving into mist. Overload golems spark and explode into shrapnel, metal melting into liquid pools. Pus sac slugs inflate and burst, toxic pus evaporating in the light. Sand shifter serpents melt into glass sculptures. Emberclaw tyrants cool rapidly, magma blood solidifying into obsidian. Glacial frost claws melt into water, evaporating to steam. Thundermane hunters cook from within, fur standing on end. Solar pterodactyls tarnish to black, wings melting into tar. The wave reaches the hills where the overlords stand. Vexthra shrieks, her eclipse dagger raised in defense, and quickly pops a mysterious orb and vanishes. Kraghor roars, faced with absolute despair, his inferno crown in a perilous darkness. The last beast, Solkar, he spreads his wings wide as the spire, solar flare crown blazing. With all his demonic strength. But the light passes through their defenses as if they are nothing. The overlords' veils snap, flicker, and shatter. Their bodies begin the same disintegration as their minions. Where is thus, as though some dark power consumes them yonder and choose to reanimate their vessels or reincarnate their evil spirits. By the time the light fades, the battlefield is silent. Where 100,000 creatures stood, now only ash, glass, and crystallized remains mark their passing. The floating spire above has dimmed, Solkar's light extinguished. The saint stands alone in the center, their glow fading. They look up at the now dormant floating spire, then turn and walk away. Behind them, where their feet touch the ground, small flowers begin to grow, impossible blooms of golden light pushing through ash and destruction. The Daemon army is broken. The surviving few creatures scattered, leaderless, scattered to the corners of the realm. The camps are leaderless, their overlords gone. In the following days, villages near the battlefield report strange phenomena. The sky is blue again, the floating spire's shadow gone. No one knows where the saint went. Some say they were a god walking among mortals. Others claim they were the first human, returning to save their descendants. Some believe they were a collective force, every soul the Daemon army had ever victimized, given form. Darien would say he's just a man seeking his own approval from his god, no more than just a young man who can dig a shovel and do what he can to help. What is certain is that the Daemon army is broken. The camps remain, but leaderless, scattered, diminished. For the first time in generations, there is hope in the villages. And in the crater where the saint stood, a single flower grows, golden, eternal, and impossible. The light endures. Dove fire, new moon, droplet, high voltage, sun with face.